Heads of state from across the Arab and Islamic world are gathering here in Doha for an emergency summit. They're discussing a regional response to last week's Israeli attack on Hamas leaders in Doha. Qatar says Israel's aggression must be met with fierce and firm measures. Despite that, Qatar's Prime Minister says his country will continue mediation efforts to end the war in Gaza.
The state of Qatar will not tolerate any violation of its sovereignty or threat to its national security. Qatari sovereignty is a matter that cannot be overlooked or transgressed, and we will confront any threat to us by all means guaranteed by international law. From this standpoint, we emphasize that Israel's mob and barbaric practices will not deter us from continuing our sincere efforts with the Arab Republic of Egypt and the United States to stop this unjust war.
For more on this, we're going to speak with Mohamad Elmasry, Professor at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Thanks so much, Mohamad, for being with us. We heard their talk of concrete measures of action being taken. What practical steps do you think could come out of today's summit?
Well, what practical steps could come out, or what practical steps will likely come out? I think there are two different questions. Certainly, there's a lot on the table, and many of your analysts have been sort of speculating, right? They're everything from a possible Arab NATO or some kind of a joint military alliance to economic sanctions to closing off airspace to Israeli aircraft. Joining the ICJ case against Israel, the genocide case that was brought by South Africa about a year and a half ago, withdrawing from the Abraham Accords. There are all kinds of options. Unfortunately, though, I kind of agree with what many are saying, that I think expectations are maybe a bit too high. I think it's likely that that things are going to fall well short of the expectations of the Arab Street, primarily because there are too many countries. They have diverging interests, and they don't all agree on taking these kinds of actions.
So do you think that is going to hold back some of the more firmer actions that could potentially be taken because of, I guess, the differences in amongst so many countries that are here today?
I do. To me, the Abraham Accords is a real obvious one. 5 years ago, I was saying that this was a really bad idea, and so were many other people. But I think it should be clear to everyone now that this was a really bad idea, right? And not just because it undermines the Palestinian cause, because it also makes things much more dangerous for regional actors, right? But I think it's unlikely, because I think that there are actors like the UAE, like Morocco, who value their relationships with Israel. I'll be very surprised if they end up withdrawing from those accords.
Okay. When it comes to the security arrangements here, especially in the GCC, how will leaders see the Israeli attack that occurred here in Doha on Tuesday? Are they having to, I guess, view everything in a completely new light, given what happened?
Well, certainly they should be. And the statements that they've released so far indicate that they do understand the severity here. I mean, the reality is that it's become clear to everyone that Israel is on a path to what they see as greater Israel. And so all of the countries that are on the path, and there are many, of greater Israel, as interpreted by Israeli thought leaders, those countries should be very concerned. And even countries that are not on the path of greater Israel should be concerned, because Qatar, for instance, is not on the path of greater Israel, right? But all countries should be concerned, because Israel has shown that it's prepared to attack any country that sort of gets in its way, number one. Number two, one of Israel's key objectives here is to establish itself as a regional hegemon, right? They want to weaken all of the Arab and Middle Eastern states. So I think all the countries should be concerned. And let's not forget that immediately following the attack on Qatar last week, Israel came out and basically threatened to do it again anywhere in the region. And we've just gotten reports now the last couple of days that they apparently tried to do this, were attempting to do this in Egypt as well. So I think all countries should be on high alert.
Okay, we'll leave it there for the moment, Mohamad, but no doubt we'll be talking to you over the coming hours as hopefully we hear a little bit more from the summit. Mohamad Elmasry for us. Thank you.
Don't miss out to get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.